This is the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show with Jake. The new way Wyoming wakes up.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Friday, April 4th. From the Cowboy State Daily Newsroom, I'm Wendy Core. From the moment an on-the-job accident all but ruined Laramie firefighter Dylan Schilt's body, he's been determined to get back the full use of it. The 32-year-old was crushed when a massive stone fireplace chase collapsed on him and another firefighter responding to a house fire at the end of February. He suffered a broken back, shattered ankle, and collapsed lung, and was left temporarily paralyzed from the waist down. But Schilt told Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines he knew he would walk again.
They determined that his spinal cord was not severed. He did suffer some bruising and scarring on the spinal cord, so it's been rough, but he told me today that he now has feeling in both his legs, and they're working on it. They're getting to the point where he's trying to walk again and learn some balance. He told me he's determined. He wants to go back to doing everything, including being a firefighter.
Schilt's been doing several hours of physical therapy a day, focusing mostly on learning to walk and balance again and strengthening atrophied muscles. He said his accident and recovery have brought him an appreciation for the ties that bind together first responders as well as good people in general. When 15-year-old Roxton-looking Bill didn't catch any fish Wednesday evening on the Wind River, he started walking back toward his grandmother's house along a little dirt road, and something caught his eye. It was a small toolbox and surprisingly heavy. But Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that when Looking Bill opened the box, he didn't find a set of sockets or tools. He found 4 hand grenades.
They did call police, and then there was a huge alarm, and the bomb squad came down from Natrona County and took them. And so just very dramatic, and they had to reassure the neighbors that the grandma was okay. We just found grenades. It looked like every single dad in Wyoming was in the comments saying the blue spoon or handle signifies that these are training grenades. Joey Correnti, who was actually an explosives instructor in the Army, was like, you know what? Yes, blue signifies training, but you don't know where these came from. You didn't load or empty them yourself. So still, ultimate caution, call the police.
Correnti said he was glad the Riverton situation ended as calmly as it did, but looking at the rusted box, he suggested the teen might want to get a tetanus shot. A Hudson man will go to federal prison for at least the next 10 years of his life after pleading guilty Thursday to possessing child pornography. 58-year-old Sean Brennan pleaded guilty to the charge in U.S. District Court in Cheyenne on Thursday. Cowboy State Daily's Leah Wolfson reports that this is Brennan's second child porn conviction.
The first event occurred about 20 years ago. Brennan was actually apprehended while video vigilantes were apprehending him for kind of a sting operation, with him attempting to meet up with a minor, a fake minor, basically. Because of that vigilante sting, he was found by federal agents a little bit later to have child pornography in his possession. And that's what we were in attendance for in the courtroom on Thursday.
Brennan has been in custody at the Scottsbluff County Detention Center in Nebraska since his federal arrest. He'll remain there until his sentencing. I'll be back with more news right after this.
Are you fabulous and 55? Are you ready to use your valuable time and talent to give back? Join Serve Wyoming through the AmeriCorps Seniors Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, or RSVP, and make a positive impact on your community. With a lifetime of skills and experiences, you're exactly what your community needs. Whether you're itching to lend a hand or your organization could use some extra support, we've got you covered. Call Sarah Roberts at Serve Wyoming at 307-234-3428 or RSVP at servewyoming.org.
Well, once again, Bob the Barrel is on thin ice. Between now and early May, everyone in Pinedale will eagerly await the time and date when the bright yellow barrel breaks through the nearly 2-foot-thick layer of ice on Fremont Lake and bobs back to shore. It's the Pinedale Lions Club annual Fremont Lake Ice Off Guess. Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi reports that the Barrel Guess is one of the Pinedale Lions' longest-running fundraisers, a tradition that goes back to at least 1940.
The idea is the Pinedale Lions Club sells tickets where people guess the exact date and time when Bob the Barrel makes landfall. Now, the thing of it is, they sell hundreds of tickets for this, but your ticket is still valid until the next guess. So let's say if you guess 5 p.m. on April 27th, which is within the window of when Bob typically makes landfall, the next guess might be May 1st at 3 a.m., but if there's no guesses in between there, you could still win the $500 prize. days.
The most likely time for the ice to come off Fremont Lake is between the last week of April and the first week of May. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily.
For a Native American child living in poverty, opportunities are limited and filled with obstacles. Generational trauma, poverty, and a disconnect from their culture. These children are looking for a new direction, a chance at a better life for their families and communities. At St. Lebre Indian School, Native American children get that chance.
I like that they try to keep us safe. I do feel safe here. My favorite thing about Lebre is how they incorporate our cultural values into our everyday education.
St. Lebre is more than a school. Here, every child gets the education and tools to become the change makers of tomorrow.
Graduating from Lebre will allow me to attend bigger universities and colleges through their scholarship programs.
Learn more about how St. Lebre is helping lead our children to a future that is proud, prosperous, and free. Learn more at stlebre.org.
Hi, welcome back. Good morning. It's Friday. That's my Friday Groundhog's Day. It's Friday. I'm so excited for the weekend. Also, my last day filling in for Jake. It's kind of bittersweet because I've had so much fun and you have been so awesome. But Good Friday morning, 4th of April. It is a little wet and snowy in my neck of the woods. I'm in central Wyoming. We have a good dusting. I mean, it's there. Like everything is coated in white outside. I'm checking some road conditions. I actually was supposed to drive up South Pass. I think the folks just reached out and said, today might not be a good day. We were heading to the rock shop, so it's a little off South Pass and off out of the Lander area. And sometimes that area can get a little sketchy. So I know they're experiencing some slick roads with fog and snowfall in that area. So it sounds like we're going to reschedule, which for me is great news because I am the worst when it comes to driving in the winter conditions. And not that I'm a bad driver because I'm extremely safe, but I have just seen some of the craziest stuff living in Montana with the wind and the snow and the ice and here in Wyoming as well. So I just always err on the side of caution, and I like to be extra safe. And safety Shireen always comes out when we're driving. So I'm hoping that we actually do reschedule that because it's just windy and slick, and that's just not fun to go on a trip on a Friday worrying about that. So hopefully we'll be rescheduling. But it's been great, like I said, being here. If you're just tuning in and you're wondering where in the world is Jake, I know some folks, because it's a long program, some folks tune in at random times, and I may not have said at that moment that I'm just filling in for Jake. Today's my last day, but some folks really missing Jake, thinking Jake might be gone permanently, and he is not. No, he's just on a much needed, hardest working guy in radio and media, much needed spring break and vacation. So I was honored and glad to be able to fill in, but today is my last day, so you will no longer hear Shireen, the Adventure Queen, on the morning show. You will hear Jake. He will be back, but I've had a ton of fun. So for those of you, like I said, who are just tuning in, today's my last day that I'll be on filling in. But I do radio in central Wyoming. I do a lot of podcasting. I do a couple of different podcasts that I do one for the company I work for, County 10, and then I also do one for the Wind River Visitors Council, and then I produce and edit a lot of podcasts, one of which is Wild Things and Wild Places. We had Joshua Corsi on the show last week, so if you listen to podcasts, there's some good ones for sure, and not just because I'm involved in them, but because they actually are really, really good podcasts. So that's kind of what I do as well. I do radio every morning in my small town in central Wyoming, and I love doing that, and involved in a lot of different events and emceeing stuff. We actually have an event coming up next week for Help for Health Hospice here in central Wyoming, and we do an event called The Power of the Purse. And so I go out and auction off a bunch of purses, and we just have a ton of fun. We've had a lot of folks that have donated some really high-end, nice purses, and then all the money goes to hospice. Help for Health Hospice here locally. So that's kind of a passion of mine. I love fly fishing. I'm wearing my Zero Limit Catch and Release shirt. Always like to promote catch and release with fly fishing. I know a lot of folks like to fish to keep food, and that's awesome. And in lakes and stuff like that, that's fantastic. But in our rivers, I like to promote catch and release. I know that's a topic of discussion for some, but that's just my opinion. And I love to fly fish, love to be outdoors. I have 2 dogs, Eddie and Bridger. They're Australian Shepherds, and I have pigs in the summer. I get my 2 pigs coming up here very soon. I think they've arrived, and still a little too chilly to have them at my place because I don't have an inside barn. I just have a pig pen. Literally a pig pen outside for them, and then they have a larger pen they can run. And then somehow my 2 pigs last year kept getting out all the time, and they were just free ranging, but they had a blast and they didn't really tear too much stuff up. So really enjoyed that. So that's a little bit about me. If you may have not been able to tune in when I introduced myself or wondering where in the world is Jake, he'll be back on Monday. It'll be so exciting. I'll be watching just like you. With Jake back. So let's check in, though. Speaking of talking about the weather a little bit ago, I have some snow on the ground, and Mr. Donde.
Welcome to Friday, TGIF. It's April 4th, 2025. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by ConverseCountyTourism.com. Feel the energy of Converse County. Explore Douglas's Railroad Heritage, Ayers Natural Bridge, and the Jackalope legend. Glen Rock boasts scenic trails, dinosaur history, and small town charm. Plan your visit at ConverseCountyTourism.com. Well, the cold is going to linger for a bit longer here. Warmer weather's coming. We will revert from the wintry weather pattern to more of a spring one. But we've kind of got to get through the weekend as this broad, slow-moving area of low pressure will continue to keep things unsettled with rain and snow chances in the region through Saturday. A lot of you will see the last of the rain and snow shower activity today. But for the southern areas, New Mexico, southern Colorado, into West Texas, Kansas, you're going to have the rain and snow continue into the weekend there as the southern part of the trough rolls through. Now we're back to what we call dirty high pressure and warmer temperatures next week. Now you're going to say, well, what is dirty high pressure? I'll explain that here in a moment. But it's high pressure, so a warmer, more spring-like weather pattern is going to return as we get into next week. However, because it's a dirty high-pressure ridge, still there's going to be some possible chances of some scattered showers and even thunderstorms in portions of the northern and central Rockies next week. The next larger shift back to cooler, unsettled weather and better precipitation chances will come sometime next weekend, but a lot of variability in the computer modeling once we get past 6 days. So let's say the pattern for next weekend is something that we still have to determine. Taking a look at some photos from yesterday, shower activity developed late yesterday afternoon and evening, and then overnight in some areas. It was rain, it was snow, it was some thunder. There you can see some showers there in western Nebraska. The dark skies up in northern Wyoming with this next impending trough coming on through. Beautiful scene there along the North Platte River near Glen Rock with the frosted trees and, well, the calm waters, at least for that moment. Now, when we take a look at the surface map for the USA today, looks a lot like yesterday. We've got the severe weather and the very heavy rain focused in this area here, and this is going to continue well into the weekend where a lot of flooding and severe weather will be taking place. Here's the next cold front sweeping through the region, and there is going to be some weather coming in behind it. When we look at the satellite imagery here in a moment, you can really see that. These are the advisories. We've got flood watches, flood warnings. These are flash flood warnings for a large swath of the nation's midsection. This is winter weather advisories. Winter storm watches in effect for northeast New Mexico. Weather advisories for winter conditions into the Texas Panhandle. Then up along the cold front, some winter weather advisories for the northern areas. You can see the bright clouds from the cluster of showers and thunderstorms that are going through the same area. And there's going to be the reformation of these showers and thunderstorms today, tomorrow, and Sunday in the same area. Hence the flooding concerns. The next trough coming in up from the northern areas, dragging a cold front through here, is what will be producing scattered rain and snow showers across the central and northern Rockies today. It's kind of easier to see in the water vapor loop, where we've got the low down here near the Four Corners area, then the low up here, and you can see the moisture flow is just coming on in and getting directed towards there. Since we have a split low pattern, we're not able to bring back this moisture here westward into the high plains if these two had gotten their act together. So that's why the channeling, the focusing of the deeper moisture and the heavy rain and the flooding in the central United States is occurring there. And you can really see that at the 500 millibar pattern. You might say, well, I don't see a low pressure system here. I don't see what the deal is. Why is there such heavy rain? Well, if you just watch the big pattern, the big picture, so to speak, the clockwise circulation around the high is drawing up deep moisture from the lower latitudes, and the counterclockwise rotation around the low they're working in unison. So basically, we have an atmospheric river of very moist air getting channeled in from the lower latitudes where the air is a lot warmer and a lot more moist, and focusing it into this area. At the same time, the air aloft is getting colder as this trough slowly approaches. So colder air aloft, warmth on the bottom, warmth near the surface with deep moisture is going to lead to that shower and thunderstorm pattern. And when you look, this is where we are today, this is where we are tomorrow. So there really isn't a lot of a change in this particular part of the country. Now notice up here, we have this kind of this sharp part of this trough here. That's where the cold frontal boundary is, and that cold front sweeps through. And that's what will be producing some shower activity today and into early tomorrow in this area here. When we take a look at the lower 40,